For more than a decade, Joseph Larson has stood behind pulpits with a Bible in his hand, a microphone in the other, and a smile that many believed could calm storms. But today, Joseph isn't calming anything. Today, he is the storm. Because as of this week, shocking accusations, the kind that shake ministries, destroy reputations, divide congregations, and echo across social media like wildfire, have erupted against, not from enemies, not from critics, not from random outsiders, but from someone who once knew him personally, his alleged former girlfriend. And now, the church is in shock. The Larson family is silent. Fans are confused. And Joseph's entire ministry stands in the crowd. This is the story nobody ever expected. Every scandal begins quietly. It starts as a whisper in the dark, a rumor, a question, a hint. But this time, the whisper didn't stay hidden. According to online claims, Joseph's supposed ex-girlfriend posted a series of emotional statements that quickly spread like wildfire across Christian forums, gossip groups, private church chats, and eventually onto mainstream discussion. At first, most people didn't believe. After all, Joseph Larson is known as the golden boy of the ministry, the handsome singer, the charismatic preacher, the talented musician, the safe one, the clean one, the good one. But then, screenshots appeared. Voice notes leaked. Comments surfaced. People began talking. And suddenly, what started as a whisper was now a tornado. The alleged ex posted one line that flipped the internet upside down. "You don't know the real Joseph Larson." Those 8 words started a storm that still hasn't stopped. Within hours, TikTok videos exploded. Reddit threads formed. YouTube channels jumped on the story. Facebook groups went into a frenzy. The accusations began pouring in, not all confirmed, not all verified, but emotional, painful, and shocking enough that people couldn't look away. Some claims seemed small. Some felt exaggerated. But a few? They were serious enough to shake Joseph's image to its foundation. The alleged ex didn't accuse Joseph of violence or criminal activities, thank God, but what she did accuse him of was enough to leave the church in disbelief. Accusations like manipulation, emotional dishonesty, false promises, secret double life, using ministry status for personal benefit, leading people on emotional. Whether true or false, these claims hit one place Joseph always protected, his. Because when you are in ministry, your image isn't just your identity, it's your calling card, your armor, your entire credibility. And now that armor had cracked. Deep ones. Visible ones. Public ones. Inside the church, reactions were mixed. Some refused to believe anything negative. Joseph would never do this. People just want attention. This is jealousy, nothing more. Others weren't so sure. Why would someone make this up? We should hear both sides. Something feels off. And then there were the third group, the loudest online. The truth is finally coming out. I knew something was wrong with him. These preachers are all hiding something. The church wasn't just confused. They were divided. And division is every ministry's word. As the accusations exploded, people waited breathlessly for Joseph to respond. But Joseph said nothing. No statement. No sermon comment. No social media post. No denial. No explanation. Joseph Larson, the man who preached boldly, sang loudly, and lived publicly, went completely silent. And in scandal, silence is gasoline. People filled the silence with their own theories. He's guilty. He's praying about it. The lawyers told him to stay quiet. He's protecting the church. He doesn't want to make things worse. No one knew the truth. And that made the story blow up even more. If there's one thing the Larson family is known for, it's unity. But this time, even the family didn't know how to handle the sudden explosion. Behind closed doors, sources claim, the family was shaken. Discussions were tense. Leadership was divided. Some wanted Joseph to speak. Others wanted him to stay silent. Everyone feared one thing, damage to the ministry. Because when a preacher falls, the entire family feels the weight. And for the first time in years, the Larson legacy felt fragile. These were loyal supporters who refused to believe anything negative. They claimed the ex was lying. She wanted attention. She wanted revenge. She was jealous of Joseph's success. Many wrote, "This is an attack from Satan. For every anointed man, there will be false accusers. Stay strong, Joseph. We believe in you." This group fought day and night online. These people believed the allegations instantly. They said, "This is why I don't trust these churches. He always seemed fake to me." I knew this. Critics picked apart his sermons, his songs, his expressions, even his body language from old videos. Anything that could look suspicious was used as proof. Out of all the accusations, one claim stood out above the rest. The alleged ex said, "He is not the man he pretends to be on stage." This line changed everything. Because Joseph wasn't just accused of hurting someone emotionally. He was accused of something far bigger. Being two different people, one on stage, one in real life. That hit deeper than anything else. Because if a preacher's image is doubted, everything collapses. Suddenly the story wasn't just about dating issues. It was about authenticity, integrity, ministry ethics, personal truth. And for many believers, this was the accusation that truly shocked them. As the story continued spiraling, church leadership reportedly private meetings were held. Internal discussions took place. Some leaders wanted to quietly handle the issue and wait for it to pass. Others insisted Joseph needed to address the accusations directly, not for him, but for the church. Because silence from a preacher creates suspicion among believers. And suspicion creates division. The ministry was in a tough position. Stay silent and look guilty? Or speak publicly and risk adding fuel to the... Every choice was dangerous. A second wave of posts appeared. This time, the alleged ex spoke more emotionally, saying things like, "I'm not trying to destroy him. I just want the truth out. People deserve to know who they're following." This wasn't the tone of someone seeking fame. It was the tone of someone hurt, disappointed, and carrying an emotional burden. Many viewers began to wonder whether something real did happen. Not criminal. Not scandalous in the legal sense. But emotionally damaging. Spiritually damaging. Personally painful. Within 72 hours, the story was everywhere. TikTok, Instagram Reel, Facebook, Reddit, X, Twitter. Memes appeared. Reaction videos appeared. Long commentary videos appeared. Some creators defended Joseph. Some ripped him apart. Some simply used the moment for content. The internet became a battlefield. And Joseph was at the center, silent, but surrounded. It's not the accusations themselves that shocked people. It's who the accusations were about. Joseph Larson isn't just a preacher. He's a symbol. A symbol. Youth ministry. Musical worship. Spiritual purity. Christian discipline. Moral example. When people put someone on a pedestal, the fall feels big. Even if the fall isn't real. Even if the fall is exaggerated. Even if the fall is temporary. The shock comes from the idea that someone perfect might actually be human. Something interesting began happening after the storm calmed slightly. Thousands of supporters began shifting the narrative. He's human. No one is perfect. Even if something happened, God can restore him. This was important, because scandals destroy ministries. But compassion rebuilds them. People didn't stop loving Joseph. If anything, they became protective of him. They wanted him to stand again. They wanted him to speak. They wanted to hear his side. The world waited. According to sources, Joseph's first step wasn't a public statement. It wasn't a legal action. It wasn't a sermon response. It was something quieter. He shut down his phone, stepped back, and retreated for prayer and reflection. This might be the beginning of a comeback, a confession, a clarification, a healing process. It might be the quiet before an even bigger storm. Only time will tell. As of today, the accusations remain unproven. But the damage? Real. The confusion? Real. The shock? More real than ever. The church stands on shaky ground, unsure of what's true and what isn't. Joseph stands at a crossroads. One path leads to restoration, the other to public downfall. What will he choose? Only Joseph knows. And until he speaks, the world will keep watching. The church will keep whispering. And the shock will keep spreading. A week had passed. The noise was slowing down. People were moving on. Some believed the accusations were exaggerated. Others thought it was a moment of bitterness from an ex that would eventually fade away. But then, just when everyone thought the storm was dying out, the accuser returned. This time, not with tears, but with proof. Screenshots. Voice messages. Dates. Receipts. And a statement that blew the previous scandal out of the water. I stayed silent for years, but if Joseph won't speak the truth, I will. And just like that, the scandal was born again. This wasn't part two of a story. This was the beginning of a war. The alleged ex came back stronger, louder, and far more organized. No emotional outbursts. No vague sentences. No unclear references. This time, she brought timelines, messages, specific memories, claims of manipulation, claims of emotional damage, claims of being used and ignored. Her tone changed completely. She wasn't crying anymore. She was unmasking. She wasn't warning. She was unleashing. And every new detail she dropped spread through the internet like fire on dry grass. People who doubted her the first time started paying attention. Because now, she wasn't speaking emotionally. She was speaking confidently. The first major accusation in part 2 was devastating. He lied to me repeatedly. To keep me close. To control my feelings. To keep me quiet. This wasn't about cheating. This wasn't about physical wrongdoing. This wasn't about money. It was about intent. Intent cuts deeper than actions. Because if someone messes up accidentally, people forgive. But when someone plans, manipulates, or hides emotionally, people question their heart. The accuser claimed. Joseph pretended to care deeply. Joseph promised future commitments. Joseph kept her emotionally locked. Joseph acted differently backstage than on stage. Joseph used charm to avoid accountability. Whether true or false, the claims were enough to make fans uneasy. This line became the viral quote of part 2. Fan pages reposted it. YouTube creators made thumbnails with it. Commenters kept repeating it. It was simple, but deadly. The Joseph you see is not the Joseph I knew. This was a direct attack on Joseph's public persona, the one he had worked so hard to build. The accuser began describing two versions of Joseph. Joseph on stage, gentle, calm, spiritual, respectful, soft-spoken, inspirational. Joseph off stage, according to her, distant, dismissive, emotionally cold, inconsistent, unpredictable, charming but calculated. This claim hit harder than anything in part 1, because accusing a preacher of hypocrisy is an accusation that sticks. Even when people want to ignore it, they can't unhear it. Then she released screenshots. Not explicit. Not incriminating legally. But personal enough to cause massive speculation. Messages that showed Joseph being affectionate. Joseph apologizing. Joseph changing moods. Joseph saying let's keep this private. Joseph avoiding commitment conversations. Joseph ending conversations abruptly. Joseph ghosting for days and coming back without explanation. Again, nothing illegal, but everything damaging. Because these weren't the messages of a polished priest. They were the messages of a struggling, conflicted young man. And the internet loves contradictions. Commenters said things like, "This feels real. This doesn't look fake. This is exactly how a double life looks. So he was different behind the scenes? This makes more sense than what the church says." Even neutral people started raising eyebrows. Not because the messages were extreme, but because they were human, imperfect, messy, emotional. Something most preachers try to hide. After the screenshots, something new happened. Joseph's defenders started arguing with each other. Some said, "This doesn't prove anything. Everyone texts like this sometimes. It's just a normal conversation." Others admitted, "Okay, this looks bad. This doesn't match his public image. Why was he hiding her?" A few even said, "I'm losing respect. I don't know what to believe anymore." The worst part? Some longtime fans felt betrayed, not because of the texts, but because Joseph hadn't said a word. And silence hurts believers more than scandal. When you follow a preacher, you expect honesty, even when honesty is messy. But Joseph stayed silent. And that silence became louder than anything the accuser. Private meetings increased. Whispers grew louder. Internal tensions rose.